do, but I found that this one was the special one, the one that I wanted to do. So with that in mind, we are actually going to watch another Business Insiders, and this one's really special. It's for 12 fascinating jobs done by women around the world that are still standing. So we are taking a look at the 12 fascinating jobs by women that are still standing, and I'm super stoked. So let's go ahead and watch it together, and we'll take a look.
Producing dye from tiny cactus bugs, grinding nuts to make West Africa's most popular skincare product, and handcrafting bespoke
cocoa
suits
butter?
for some of the world's wealthiest clients. We explore 12 fascinating jobs done by women around the world. Our first stop is in India, where one woman holds the secret to making the perfect mirror.
Oh, the perfect mirror.
The secret to making this sacred mirror is known by just a handful of people. Aranmula Kannadi is made entirely from metal, and the formula for the special reflective alloy has been passed down in this community in India for around 500 years.
I always wondered where a mirror
incredibly
came from.
labor-intensive and done entirely by hand. It's all to get a reflection that gives zero distortion, and the mirror is believed to bring good luck. Sudhamal J learned the trade secrets from her father when she was little, so when he died, she chose
So
to
I
defy
recently wanted to
cultural
start
taboos
redoing
and take on
bitty
business.
bits of my house and do some stuff to it. And I want to make a hallway of mirrors. I think it really bring that like fun town, kind of funky,
She's carried the business through
like
a devastating flood.
hall
and
of
the
mirrors,
pandemic.
funhouse
So
feel
what
to
makes this mirror so unique?
my little abode here.
And how is this centuries-old craft still standing?
I think that it's pretty amazing.
Birthplace, a district in Kerala known for its rich culture, and for its temple, where the mirror was born. Originally, only royals and priests could use the mirror for rituals. Today, it's more accessible, but the social and spiritual importance still remains.
That's
And
amazing.
so does the age-old process.
സാധാരണ ഗ്ലാസ് മിററും ആറന്മുള കണ്ണാടിയും തമ്മിലുള്ള വ്യത്യാസം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മൾ ആറന്മുള കണ്ണാടി ആദ്യം മുതലേ നമ്മൾ ഹാൻഡ് മെയ്ഡ് കൈകൊണ്ട് തന്നെയാണ് അതിൻ്റെ എല്ലാ വർക്കുകളും ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ഒരു മെഷീനറിയും നമ്മൾ ഇവിടെ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നില്ല.
It said it's pure
Sudhamal
handmade,
works with
not
her son
machinery.
Niranjan, often into the night. They're melting down the raw metals that they'll need for tomorrow's batch of mirrors. An old roof tile makes the perfect mold. Niranjan seals the end of it so that the molten metal won't leak out. The mirror's alloy is made of tin and copper. They're melted down separately and poured into different molds. The next day, the tin and copper rods will be broken up and melted down together in the perfect ratio.
I always
create
wanted
the
to get
mirror's
into
reflective
like,
surface.
what is it, like metal
Sudhamal starts
casting?
the day by making the clay.
When I was younger, I used to have this little like die casting machine. I'm sure it was one of like my very first DIY kits. Okay.
Another ingredient is jute, a fiber they take from grocery bags. She mixes the jute and the pottery dust with mud that she harvested from a nearby paddy field. It until it reaches the right consistency. Sudhamal is doing the kind of physical work that's typically done by men in this industry.
ആദ്യമായിട്ട്
That's
ഇൻഡിപെൻഡൻ്റ്
amazing.
ആയിട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന
Good.
ആദ്യത്തെ ഒരു വനിതയാണെന്നുള്ളതിൽ എനിക്ക് അഭിമാനമുണ്ട്.
Her father became sick in 2007, and his dying wish was for someone to carry on his legacy. Since he had no sons, he left the secrets with his wife and daughter.
ഈ തൊഴിലിനെ മുന്നോട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോകണം, നമ്മുടെ കുടുംബത്തെ ഒരു ജോലിയല്ലേ, അത് നിലനിർത്തിക്കൊണ്ട് പോകണം എന്ന് എല്ലാവരും സപ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടേ ഉള്ളൂ.
Sudhamal's mother, Punamal, is in charge of packing the clay into circular molds. The discs dry outside anywhere from 1 to 4 days, depending on how sunny it is. Once they're dried and smoothed out, Sudhamal coats the discs with wet charcoal. The charcoal fills in the disc's tiny pores, so that the mirror will come out smoothed after it's sandwiched between the two discs. Niranjan puts tiny pieces of metal on one disc before placing the other one on top.
So we're making a
This
little
creates a
sandwich?
space that the molten metal will later fill.
Okay.
He layers on more clay until the mold is completely sealed.
Okay.
Niranjan learned how to
I
make
get
mirrors
it.
common for someone his age.
ആളുകൾ ഇത് ക്രാഫ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ മടിക്കുന്നവരുണ്ട്. അത് ഇത് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള പാടും ചൂടത്തുള്ള നിർമ്മാണ രീതികളും ഒക്കെ ആയിരിക്കാം.
Most people
While the crucible
of
dries
younger
out,
age wants a
Niranjan
simpler
breaks up
job.
the tin and copper rods that he cast the day before. Only the people who have inherited this craft know just how much of each metal to add to the crucible.
ഈ നിർമ്മാണ മേഖലയിലുള്ള ഒരു സൊസൈറ്റി ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു നിയമം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നമ്മൾ ഇതിൻ്റെ സീക്രട്ട് രഹസ്യങ്ങൾ, പ്രോസസ്സിൻ്റെ എല്ലാ രഹസ്യങ്ങളും അങ്ങനെ പുറത്ത് ആർക്കും പറഞ്ഞു കൊടുക്കാറില്ല. കുട്ടികൾക്ക് കൈമാറിയാണ് വരുന്നത്.
Legend has it that at least 300 years ago, the formula for reflective metal came to a village elder in a dream. Another story says that metal workers accidentally discovered the alloy while making a crown for the king. The knowledge has been passed down in mirror-making families ever since. But that legacy is spent tending to the fire. Niranjan feeds it with charcoal and coconut husks, while Sudhamal cranks the fan.
ഏറ്റവും നമുക്ക് ആ ചൂട് ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുള്ള ചൂട് തന്നെയാണ്.
I wonder how hot it is there.
The crucibles sit in the 1200-degree fire for about an hour, with the metal pieces at the bottom. Then Niranjan checks to see if the metal is melted by listening carefully for a sound. He cools down the hot crucible with his bare hands and a little bit of wet clay. Then he slowly flips it. That makes the molten metal inside trickle down and fill the space between the discs.
അങ്ങനെ ഒരു പീസായിട്ടല്ല, ഒരു എണ്ണമായിട്ടല്ല നമ്മൾ നിർമ്മിക്കാറുള്ളത്. ഒരു ബൾക്കായിട്ട്
I want a mirror from these people. I want something that was
To double check that it
painstakingly
worked, he cracks open
crafted.
the top of each one. If there's a little metal left over, that means the mirror was successfully forged. But things don't always go according to plan. Sometimes the metal leaks out and doesn't form the mirror. But they always make sure to recycle leftover pieces back into the process.
Yeah,
The next day,
very
it's
good.
time for the reveal.
Let's see. Let's see. I'm excited.
The mirror isn't reflecting just yet. It needs to go through several rounds of polishing.
Ooh.
കൂടുതൽ ആളുകൾ ഇഷ്ടപ്പെടുന്നത് ഹാൻഡ് മെയ്ഡായിട്ടുള്ള പ്രൊഡക്ട്സാണ്. സോ മെഷീൻ യൂസുള്ള പ്രൊഡക്ട്സ് ആരും ഇഷ്ടപ്പെടാൻ താല്പര്യമില്ല എന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ വിശ്വാസം.
Sudhamal uses wet sandpaper to smooth the mirror's surface.
You know, this is your craft, homegirl.
Sudhamal gives it a few more rounds of polishing with more coconut oil and a velvet cloth. They always put a sticker on the back of the frame to mark its authenticity. It's a crucial step, since counterfeit Aranmula Kannadis take up a huge part of the market.
That sucks.
That's why the Indian government gave artisans exclusive rights to make these only in Aranmula back in 2005. And with a good eye, you can tell the difference between a real and a fake.
അതേപോലെ തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ പ്രതിബിംബം യഥാർത്ഥ പ്രതിബിംബമാണ് അതിൽ കാണുന്നത്.
Typical glass mirrors reflect light through the back of the mirror, which can create distortion. And Aranmula Kannadi reflects light on the surface of the metal, so it's believed to show a more accurate reflection. Sudhamal hopes the next wave of mirror makers will see that too.
പുതിയ തലമുറ അങ്ങനെ ഗിഫ്റ്റ് വാങ്ങിക്കാൻ താല്പര്യപ്പെടുന്നില്ല എന്ന് പറയുന്നെങ്കിലും എനിക്ക് പറയാനുള്ളത് നമ്മുടെ പാരമ്പര്യമായിട്ടുള്ളതും
Must be able to appreciate our general traditional craft and art.
Candle making has been in this family for over 300 years.
I would get down on some candle making. I have candle making supplies. And I wanted to do tapers this year, and I might do tapers for
They were commonly
Halloween.
used in church services and proposal ceremonies. Viviana melts it over a fire, fueled by wood and corn cobs.
Yo no me usa gas. Hago de natural.
no gas, all
She learned
natural.
the craft at around 8 years old. Her
Aw.
parents left her when she was a child, and her grandma couldn't afford to send her to school. She taught her to make candles instead.
Mira, dice que yo voy a dejar un
Look, she said, I'm going to give you work that will last forever.
64 years later, she runs the business with her family.
Me quedé para
I
siempre.
kept this forever.
Me
They taught me how to
enseñaron
work, and I
a
found a way
trabajar.
forward.
Entonces yo busqué la manera cómo voy a salir adelante. Parte de Oaxaca
There are
ya
parts of
son muy
Oaxaca that are
secas.
very dry now.
Por eso
That's why I
compro
purchase in
Chiapas.
Chiapas.
Y hay agua, pues.
There's water
Y
and
ahí
food there
hay
for
que
the little
comer
piece.
la-
Oh,
las abejitas, pues.
Viviana uses a bowl as a mold and dips it first into the hot wax, then into cold water to harden it. She can make up to 40 pounds of these discs in a day. Viviana then lays them out on the roof of her house. She
okay.
lives in the small village of Teotitlan. The discs sit for up to a month, bleaching under the sun. This purifies the wax and makes it a blank canvas, so it can be melted down again and dyed.
Interesting.
Then it's time to make the candlesticks. These candles started out as bare wicks. One layer at a time, they pour wax over them and let them dry for 10 minutes before adding the next layer. It takes an entire month to get them to this size. The biggest candle Viviana has ever made was nearly 6 feet tall and weighed 30 pounds.
I love
Finally,
candles.
they cut the bottoms to make the candlesticks even.
And
This
that's
week, the
terrifying
family
to
is
me.
filling an order of 48 candles for a proposal ceremony.
If you never heard of the box cutter story, please, I implore you, go check it out on my
But
channel.
business wasn't always like this. Up until the 1980s, Viviana and other candle makers didn't get paid for their work. Instead, they offered the candles to the church in exchange for food.
Yo fui a dar servicio 20 años. No cobramos, pues, porque así es la costumbre de acá. Es un servicio lo que estás dando.
Eventually, most candle makers couldn't afford to keep working and moved on to other trades. But Viviana didn't give up. She came up with new designs, like flowers made out of wax instead of paper.
Oh, wow.
Regalé 2 ahí en la iglesia para que vean la gente. Poco a poco le gustaron mucho la gente.
Aww.
Then she broke
She
tradition
started
by
making
selling
wax
her candles
flowers.
in order to save the business. But her grandmother was not happy.
Sí me molestó. Lloró mucho cuando vieron mi trabajo. Pero yo le digo
But I
a mi
asked my
abuela,
grandmother, why are
"¿Por
you
qué
crying?
llora mi abuela?
It's for us to get ahead. People
Para
like
que
it.
vamos a salir adelante, para que le gusta a la gente."
Her creations eventually became so popular throughout town that she's now a local celebrity.
Por eso todo el pueblo tiene respeto conmigo, porque
I made it a
saqué lo
prettier
que-
place.
lo más bonito, pues.
Viviana and her family make hundreds of wax figurines each week. By cutting, shaping, and molding. Viviana has preserved some of the original candle elements. She still has the molds that have been passed down for 3 generations. Like this one, that she uses to make an angel figurine.
El único yo tengo ese molde.
I'm the
No
only
todos
person who has
lo
this
que
mold.
hacen de-
Everyone who makes candles has a mold like this.
And all the dyes are natural. The red color comes from an insect. She still uses paper flowers like her grandma did. But it's the flowers made from wax that she's most proud of.
Como yo saqué
I
toda
created all these roll
estas
stem models.
modelos,
They'd never been used before.
botón de rosa, antes no se lleva.
Each ornament holds a certain significance.
Estas velas va a ir
This
para
candle is used to
pedir
ask for
amor.
someone's hand in marriage. Aww.
Este blanco
White one
es un
represents
cariño
affection for the
para la
bride.
novia. Y este
The color of the
El
red one
color
represents affection too. It
rojo.
does the pink.
es
As does the
color
pink.
cariño. Igual
The color of the
color
red one
rosa.
represents
Y
affection
el
too. And
patito
small ducks are a
es
man and woman.
un hombre y una mujer.
Viviana is the first candle maker to sell outside of her village. She now gets business from couples all over Oaxaca and from a jewelry store in New York City.
Aww.
In Mexico, each one of her candles sells for 300 pesos, or $15. And they're used for religious festivals too, like the Mayo Dormia, an annual celebration honoring the village's saint.
Es una
Aww.
promesa.
It's a promise. The
La vela
candle is
es un
something very
sagrado.
sacred.
But business has been slow over the past year, as the pandemic has halted the usual gatherings.
La enfermedad que
Sickness
entró,
that came,
ya
there was
no,
nothing else.
ya no había nada, pues. Ni
Not
misa,
mass, not
ni
weddings, not marriages, nothing.
matrimonio, ni a casar, no. Apenas ahorita
Only now
que
things are
está
picking
saliendo,
up a
pero
little,
le
but
digo,
not
no
by
es
very
mucho.
much.
Viviana is excited to get back to work.
Yo cuando voy a acabar un tanto, me alegro, voy a ganar.
Because I know I'm going to earn a bit of money,
Va a
and my work
quedar
is
mi
going to look
trabajo.
good.
Viviana has taught the craft to young women in the village, so the tradition can live on after her.
Aww.
Ojalá que voy a quedar este tamaño, se puede.
But year
Pero
after year, I feel
año
more
por
tired.
año
Aww.
me siento muy cansada.
And she's counting on her daughter-in-law to pass it on to her children too.
Va a aprender.
She will
Porque
learn,
yo-
because my life is going to
Va a
end.
acabar mi vida. Pues. Yo me siento. Va a acabar mi vida. Ahorita ya me siento.
Right now I can feel it. Oh,
Si tiene
loves it, she'll do
amor,
it.
lo va a hacer. Porque es muy alegre.
It's really a joy.
El
The work
trabajo
is joy.
Es un alegre.
Women in West Africa have been turning. The yellow paste is often called women's gold, and for many in northern Ghana,
Women's
it's the
gold.
only source of income.
We don't have any.
People across Africa have used it for skin and hair care, food and medicine for at
Oh,
least
wow.
700 years.
You can eat shea
And in
butter.
recent decades, it's become a global sensation.
Oh, this is what they make
International
them out of.
customers often buy larger quantities from companies that can produce
Ew.
it faster, making it harder for traditional farmers. But the biggest threat is right in their backyard. For the past 4 decades, men have been cutting down the very tree that provides livelihood to many families.
Uh-oh.
We traveled to Ghana to find out how, despite the challenges, this group of women artisans is still standing. The day starts with a 2-hour trek to the forest for many women in the town of Yinduri. The journey can be dangerous. They have
There
to
could be a
travel in groups
snake.
to avoid armed robbers lurking in the forest,
Oh dear.
and they risk getting bitten by snakes when walking through the grass.
Mm-hmm.
If you are only 1 or 2 women that goes into the bush to pick, it's likely that you will come back.
Oh,
The shea tree
What?
grows along
What?
a dry savanna belt that stretches.
excuse me, what?
Fallen from the tree are ready. The return home can also be physically taxing. The women carry more than 25 kilograms of seeds on their heads. They first wash the seeds.
That looks very,
and let
very
them dry for a
ASMR.
week.
I would love to put my hands in that. Just.
Then it's time for cracking.
Alright, you have to crack a
The
nut.
nuts are ready when the kernel starts to rattle against the shell. Only the good ones are made into butter. The bad nuts are used to make a special food called kanwu, and as fertilizer on their farms.
Okay.
This attention to detail sets traditional shea butter apart from commercially made ones.
With the machinery, you pour everything in
With the
machine.
machinery, you pour
So
everything
if
into
there's
this.
bad one, you will not be able to
There's a bad one, you will
identify
not be able to identify
Portia
it.
Asumda has led an organization called Titiaka Boresa for the last 3 years. The group provides cooking pots and training for shea farmers in the Talensi district. It also teaches them how to pick the best quality nuts for their product. They crack the nuts into smaller pieces with a brick. Then roast them over an open fire until they become fragrant. This helps release the oils that give shea butter its nutty taste and smell, making shea butter for more than half her life.
Oh wow.
She grinds the shea nut pieces by hand. Some shea farmers have invested in grinding mills to make this step easier. But Acuna takes pride in sticking to the techniques that date back to the 14th century. The divots in these rocks provide the perfect working space. The women only produce small batches at a time to ensure the quality will be consistent.
That looks very ASMR. I want to put my hands in that.
When it comes to mixing the shea paste, the work can be grueling and takes a lot of strength.
Oh my gosh, but what can you do?
They do this for 1 hour to get the right consistency.
I really want to put my hands
The
in
water
there.
activates the butter. Slowly, it separates and floats to the top. Acuna melts the butter in another fire, using wood that was harvested in the forest. The shea oil will cool and be sold as unrefined butter.
Okay.
The first accounts of shea butter use date back to 14th century Burkina Faso.
You don't say,
and as a moisturizing
do
salve
you?
for skin. Legend has it that even the Egyptian Queen Cleopatra appreciated the butter for its hydrating power. In recent decades, global demand for shea butter.
Now I'm gonna want to go out and buy shea butter and just lather it on my body.
And high levels of vitamins have made it the ultimate ingredient for skincare products.
And then I'm gonna watch a coconut like oil, like whatchamacallit, and then want to lather my body in coconut oil.
600%. But with new demand have come new challenges. Deforestation, competition from bigger companies, and a global pandemic have threatened the livelihoods of small-scale shea farmers.
We used to get supplies from other countries like Canada, US, UK. But when COVID-19 came, we never had
COVID-19, they never had orders again.
Machine-run shea processing plants in Ghana have also begun taking over the market, making it difficult for this group of women to keep up. It takes them an entire month to produce what a big factory can do in 3 days.
Wow.
Deforestation is also an ongoing battle. Since
Too many trees dying.
Men have been cutting down shea nut trees to make charcoal for commercial use.
Oh my gosh. So it's charcoal versus the butter.
Each year.
The quantity we used to get, now we don't get it that way again. It has reduced.
We don't get that again. Reduced drastically.
Shea butter making has sustained generations of women in Ghana. Today, many depend on it as their only source of income.
They can hold that on their head.
With this group, most of them are widows. They used to say widows, they can't do anything for their own. But now that they have their own handwork, they are able to do something and earn money and take home.
Organizations like Portia's teach traditional shea farmers how to produce better quality butter and understand its value in the local market. With this knowledge, they can take home a higher profit from their
this business, I can make money to care for my children's education, feeding, and everything. Had it not been for shea butter, I don't know what my life would have been like.
The organization is also working to combat deforestation. Over the last 2 years, it's planted 7,000 shea trees.
Oh, that's good.
Although there are many challenges, Portia sees a bright future ahead.
That is our business. That is what we do. Even though it is hard to produce it, but that is where we get our money from. That is where we get our income.
Young women are still interested in learning the craft, and she hopes that expanding her business will give more opportunities to people looking to learn the skill in its traditional form.
We like to have our own plantations. We like to have our own warehouses where we can keep our shea nuts there.
For women here, shea butter is a symbol of prosperity and independence. And they're determined to pass it on to the younger generation.
See, they're not trying to manufacture, they're not trying to outsource. They're trying to keep their craft alive. That's like a tradition. That's like a big
These
idea.
White dots are bugs.
Like, that's a big
and
thing.
there's a good chance you've eaten them before. Raised on cactuses, they're called cochineals, and the acid in their guts makes a vibrant red dye.
I think I've heard of this
It ends
before.
up in tons of products, from strawberry yogurt to M&Ms to lipstick.
Indigenous people across Latin America traded it for thousands of years. And in the 17th century, it was Mexico's second most valuable export, behind silver. It can be found on the walls of archaeological sites, in priceless paintings, and in the robes of kings. Synthetic dyes and pressure from animal rights activists have pushed some Mexican farms to abandon production altogether. And cultivation of cochineals has been disappearing.
It's a shame because it's the most powerful, brilliant red dye in existence.
That's gonna make me want to go home
This
to
will be
like
the
a
last
ranch
time
and go
Inés
search for like
Carmona de
white
Gante
stuff on
farms
cactus
cochineals
leaves.
on her land.
Hicimos todo lo que se pudo.
We did everything we
Others,
could.
like Catalina Yolanda Lopez, say they'll do everything they can to keep their production going.
Valorábamos, digamos, la grana
Value
cochinilla
cochinilla
como
like a
un
treasure our
tesoro
ancestors
que
left us,
nos dejaron nuestros antepasados y que teníamos que
and we had to make
lograr
it to
que
survive.
sobreviviera.
But Catalina doesn't know how much longer her family can keep this ancient tradition alive. Cochineal bugs are tiny parasites that live on cactuses. And the stuff that becomes the powerful red dye makes up almost a quarter of their weight. But it's not blood. It's actually a naturally occurring compound called carminic acid that's a repellent against predators like ants. Cochineals eat prickly pear cactuses, or nopales as they're known in Mexico. They have all the moisture and place the cochineals on the paddles.
Estamos anidando lo que es la grana cochinilla madre, poniéndola dentro de un nido de palma.
These look like finger traps, but they're actually tiny houses for the bugs. Catalina says no one makes them anymore, so she has to be
They
careful
look like
not
Chinese
to break
finger
them.
traps.
Y dentro de 12
I think she just
horas
said
o
that.
10 horas van a aparecer la grana cochinilla bebé caminando a través de los agujeros de las uniones de la palma.
And once they've spread across the paddle, she hooks in a wire and hangs it up. Now the cochineals can get to munching. The nopal library. Predators like this telero worm.
Y este se come la grana cuando está en estado larvario.
Every white dot you see here is a cochineal.
Tiene un polvo alrededor de ella como si fuera talcoguarina.
The
Laboratorio.
Body starts wearing like electronic sugar into karmic acid.
only
Well
female
then.
cochineals produce carmine. The
Oh
males
no.
are tiny, have wings, and fly away.
Oh,
But don't call
go
these
figure.
little guys beetles or cockroaches.
Las cucarachas tienen caparazón, tienen dos antenas y son muy feas. Y estas son preciosas.
These are beautiful, preciosas.
Once stayed over in Puebla, almost all of Carmona's nopal fields will be gone. She plans to replace it with corn and save just a few cactuses.
Chose the bugs.
She looks for the perfect cactuses to bring back to her hungry bugs in the greenhouse.
Puede ser
It can be
pequeño,
small,
puede ser
it can be twisted or misshapen, but it needs to be thick so it has food.
grueso, que tenga alimento.
Caretakers of the cochineals have to constantly move babies to new nopal paddles, and after 3 to 4 months, the female insects are ready for harvesting. Carmona uses a sieve to separate the bugs from their clothes, the powder and silk they make.
Y se queda nada más la grana.
As the dead cochineals
She
dry
just keeps
out,
getting-
their squishy pods solidify. Carmona sells them whole.
Todo este hilo de acá hasta allá para sacar 3 kilos de grana húmeda y nos queda uno de granazo.
Catalina and her daughter, Claudia Juarez Lopez, use a traditional metate to grind them into a brilliant red.
Es preferible hacerlo a mano, ya que nosotros creemos que es mejor la
Of her dried cochineal for about $150.
No es mucho. Así, con todo este trabajo que lleva, tendría un precio de 10,000 pesos por kilo.
Large food brands use carminic acid in everything, from Yoplait strawberry yogurt and Airheads to Nerds and M&M's in the UK. But customers will never
All the
taste
things that
it.
I've eaten.
No cambia el sabor. O sea, la grana solamente tiene puro color.
It appears on the nutrition label as Carmine, Natural Red 4,
I
Crimson
think I've
Red,
seen that
or
too.
E120 in the European Union. Carmine is also frequently used in the cosmetic industry. And that use is anything but new. Cochineal dates back thousands of years in Mexico. Wall art, like those in the pyramids of Montalban. After Hernan Cortes conquered the Aztecs, he brought cochineal back to Europe. And it quickly replaced European dyes because cochineal fixed onto wool and silk better, lasted longer, and created a more vibrant red.
About 15 times more powerful than anything that had been seen before.
It came to represent power, showing up in the highest of fashion. Artists like Van Gogh, Renoir, and Rembrandt were painting cochineals into their masterpieces. In the 1800s, women in the United States started using it to color food, from cakes and candies to jellies and pickled red cabbage. But then in 1856, synthetic dyes were invented, first with mauve, made from byproducts of coal, and then in 1878 with red number 2, made from petroleum.
It was very difficult to compete because they had lower prices,
There's a little
larger
birdie in
volumes,
his house.
and similar
Little boing.
qualities.
And these synthetics just about wiped out cochineal production in Mexico. Then in 1976, the FDA banned red number 2, under suspicion it could cause cancer. And so began a renewed interest in natural dyes. But at that point, there were almost no cochineal growers left in the country. Catalina's family was one of just 3 still working with the insects. So she made it her life mission to preserve this bug and teach others about cochineal. She started selling the dye to local artisans and chefs and turned her farm into a museum to lead workshops for people interested in the bug.
Por amor a los insectos. Creo que nuestro corazón está con los insectos, nuestra vida está con los insectos.
But much of Catalina's work has been reversed in the last 2 decades. Brands like the liqueur Campari and Starbucks stopped using Carmine due to pressure from vegetarian customers. The pandemic was another blow. Orders stopped completely for Carmona. And that's when she decided to stop cochineal production.
Oh no! No.
Last year, she produced 400 kilos of the bug. This year, she expects just 50 kilos.
If you're wondering what's going on with me, why I'm squiggling and squirming, it's because I have really bad restless legs, and for whatever reason, they are back with a vengeance, and I cannot sit still. It is horrible. It is the worst feeling ever, and
So can Mexican producers
I
save
don't
their
know what to
cochineal?
do.
The answer could lie with Peru. The government started investing in cochineal farming in the 1990s to help boost employment in rural parts of the country. And now Peru dominates more than 80% of the market. American-based liqueur brands have started using it again in place of synthetic dyes. It was even the inspiration for Pantone's Color of the Year, by her farm.
Creo que hay oportunidad para que esta cultura renazca.
Just like she taught her daughter Claudia, who's won awards for her work with the bug.
Sin el apoyo pues de los hijos, a lo mejor se hubiera ya perdido este trabajo que viene desarrollando mi mamá.
She's a mama.
But until investments or customers come, some cochineals will be lost. And Catalina will be here, caring for her bunny cactuses and tiny little bugs.
Well then.
Y mantener vivo
Little
esta
bugs.
especie que creemos que es
Does it
una
look like I fit
necesidad
any of
del
these
México
profiles
antiguo.
to do this work? Because I'm still in need of a job. Okay, well,
It's called
I think we had a nice round there, don't you think? Don't you believe? I mean, I think it was good. Did you think it was good? Anyways, that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. On the flip side, we will take a look at some more business insiders. Plant a tree, plant a flower, or at least enjoy a flower today. Anyways, I will be back later for what it's worth. I have to edit some movies or videos or whatever. But have a wonderful day.